How's it going, everyone? We got some more major Helldivers 2 news to go over. You guys seem to be doing a pretty killer job in terms of working through the major orders. These ones recently have been getting finished pretty quickly, but more power to you guys. It was that one automaton mission that absolutely whooped everyone, and you know what? That automaton major order was pretty ridiculous, and it was a little bit on the difficult side, to say the least, but it looks like this one, you guys have been able to go through pretty easily with that. A bit of an update for the game as well, and we have to talk about some of the tweets from the CEO balancing of the game, and they did speak a little bit about the direct communication that they've had to the player base, which is something that I've brought up over and over again, and on our most recent upload about the game, a lot of you guys have brought it up. It is, I don't want to say it's unprecedented how much they have had this open dialogue to the player base, but in terms of a game that has popped off like this and maintaining that level of communication, it's pretty close, and they're at an absolute elite level when it comes to communication, and hopefully a lot of other developers and publishers take note of that. But CEO tweeted out, "Hey everyone, with the successful push from the community to take Tianquan and the subsequent enabling of the mechs, our servers have a hard time coping. That team is aware and doing what they can to mitigate. This intermittent issue is caused by too many trying to acquire the mech at the same time. Service will be restored eventually, but for now, I ask for patience. I'm so impressed by the combined power and dedication of the Helldivers 2 community. You're all massive heroes, liberating Tianquan 4 times faster than we thought." So, you know, guys, this is going to be an issue when it comes to live service games. Things are going to happen that are going to incentivize people or cause people to want to jump back into the game, and you know what? Mechs being rolled out, that's going to be something that is going to warrant a lot of people wanting to jump back into the game, but give them a little bit of slack. Given how quickly they've been on top of every situation, I give them a lot of leeway at this point in terms of handling situations like this, and they're going to get this resolved very, very quickly. I highly doubt we're ever going to get to a point, and maybe me saying it with such certainty is going to end up biting me in the ass, but I highly doubt we're ever going to get to a point where it was like, you know, first weekend, second weekend, third weekend of launch. I believe it was the first 2 weekends for the most part that was really chaotic and really not so great, to say the least, but you know, in this case, I think it'll just be for a little bit. By the time you guys are watching this video as well, a lot of those issues may be resolved, and hopefully that ends up being the case, but good job, everyone, for accomplishing that major order. Somebody also responded in a tweet, to that tweet, I should say, "Fix the railgun," and CEO responded, "We did." But for real, though, the railgun is in unsafe mode, didn't change the capabilities of it as it should. The AP of it was insanely tweaked and now goes from good to GOAT, like it was always intended to be a risk-reward weapon for the high-tier play, like a sniper rifle on crack, but with the risk of killing the user, which does make a lot of sense, so take that for what you will. Speaking of balancing weapons, CEO noted, "We want to continue our trend of clearly communicating what's going on with Helldivers 2, so here are detailed design thoughts around why we did balance changes to weapons the way we did, presented by Arrowhead Game Studio old-timer Patrick Lasota." And our head of product testing, Patrick Lasota, has written a little bit more detail about our philosophies on weapon and stratagem balancing in the game. "We recently released a patch containing our first round of balance changes to Helldivers 2, and head of product testing has become valuable insight into our philosophies and practices when it comes to balancing." I'll go over some of it, full link to the article in the description box below. Talking about primary weapons, first I'd like to speak to the general power of primary weapons. Many have commented that they aren't powerful enough and are unable to deal with all of the enemies, either by the amount of ammunition required or their raw DPS. This is very much intentional. You need to rely on your stratagems and the stratagems of your team to deal with all of the enemies effectively, either by Eagle airstrikes, orbitals, support weapons, or turrets. Some of your loadout or team should be tailoring their loadout to kill the weaker stuff more efficiently. This doesn't mean your primary weapon shouldn't feel good to use, but please understand that it's primarily only in the sense that it's something you always spawn with. And yeah, stratagem use in this game is absolutely at the heart of it, and something you definitely need to take advantage of. I've, since the game release, seen many who say, "Don't nerf, only buff," and other similar ideas. However, as a designer, I can tell you this is not a great idea, but I understand where the sentiment comes from. All too often, the games industry, the core fantasy, and what makes a weapon feel good and fun is ignored for the sake of balance. I believe players are scared of nerfs because it'll ruin the fantasy of a weapon. Ruin their fun. It is extra important to us to tread carefully so that we don't ruin fantasy and fun when we do nerfs. We hope you, our players, will tell us when we cross that line inadvertently. Let's take a closer look at the changes we have made for this balance patch. The SG-225 Breaker. The Breaker was quickly pinned down as the meta weapon, vastly overperforming other weapons and being the best choice for all Helldivers, at least if YouTube is to be believed. Helldivers veterans will remember the Breaker from the first game and how powerful it was. When we look at the Breaker and the data we have on it, usage, it painted a picture of a well-liked weapon that was great at killing chaff and generally had a few more kills than other weapons. It was, however, not necessarily better at making you succeed in a mission, and no real damage nerfs were warranted. The calculated total damage per magazine was quite high compared to other weapons, however, and something that could be reined in while reinforcing the intended fantasy. The fantasy of the Breaker is a powerful automatic shotgun that bucks wildly as you hose down targets in front of you. It should be deadly up close with high DPS, and its major drawback should be ammunition management and pacing your fire so as not to overshoot a target. To that end, we have lowered the amount of shells in each magazine and increased the recoil. Then you have the SG-8 Punisher. The Punisher is a powerful pump shotgun that should hit hard but be limited by its slow reload and fire rates. Its rounds reload allows you to have constantly topped up and makes the ammunition efficiently fantastic. Unfortunately, the Punisher had a bug with only half ammo being picked up each time you picked up ammunition, making its supposed great ammunition economy quite poor instead. To bring it more in line with its intended fantasy, we increased the damage per shotgun pellet, the stagger amount, and the total amount of ammunition you can carry. We hope that this will make it feel more punchy, as even if you don't kill a hunter with the first shot, you will most likely stagger it, giving you more time for a follow-up. Then you have the Breaker Spray and Pray. The Breaker Spray and Pray was intended to be an even wilder, more point-and-destroy version of the regular Breaker, something where pacing yourself would be even harder. To bring it closer to the fantasy, we increased its armor pen, increased its fire rate of from 300 to 330, and increased the amount of shotgun pellets in each shot from 12 to 16. To compensate for this additional firepower, we reined in the magazine capacity from 32 to 26 as to not make it outshine the regular Breaker. And then they spoke more about the railgun and the flamethrower, the laser cannon as well. I won't go super in-depth on those. Also the 120mm and 38mm barrages, but they go pretty in-depth in terms of why they make specific changes. And if we get something like this for every balancing and adjustment change, that would be pretty cool to see. I don't know if that's a little bit too much to ask when we talk about every single weapon being broken down, at the very least getting it this time around with a little bit more insight as far as what to expect. You know, and why they do the things they do. That is very beneficial. I don't expect to see something like this every single time they roll out a patch, but hey, if they want to do it, that would be pretty great. And again, their communication and their transparency as far as doing the things that they do has been one of the shining examples of what has made Helldivers 2 stand out in comparison to a lot of other games, especially right from the get-go. This has been a community-driven game, and that community-driven aspect and the dialogue that the team has had to the community, that has never wavered, even with the exponential increase in popularity of the game. Sure, it gets to a point where it's going to be very difficult to respond to everyone, but they're seemingly doing the best job that they can, even with all of the added pressure and being asked so many different questions at so many different angles. But that'll be doing it for me. Again, a lot of updates. The major order completed very quickly. Mechs rolling out, unfortunately leading to some server issues and some updates as far as balancing and insight on that. That's going to do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.